Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Ready, Set, Thrive. Today, our in-studio guest is the fabulous Vanessa Famulener from HomeLight. Thank you so much for joining us today, Vanessa. I know that you came straight from one session right into another one with us, so we really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Stacey. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. So we have a bunch of topics that we want to dive into. So I want to give a little bit of background about yourself and about HomeLight, because I know that there's a lot of agents out there, as well as consumers, that are hearing a lot of buzz around the platform. And I wanted to dive in and get a better understanding so that anyone who has questions can better understand the platform, as well as all of the different functionality. That's a great set of tools to have in your real estate toolkit, right?
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start off. Can you go ahead and let the audience know sort of your background and a little bit about HomeLight?
Happy to. Yeah. So my name is Vanessa Famulener. I've been with HomeLight for about 3 years now, and really joined to help lead different BD initiatives within the company. One of which was about 2 years ago, we decided that the home financing space of residential real estate really could use some improvement. And so began to tackle that area within HomeLight myself. And that's not what I currently lead, which is our CashClose business within HomeLight. We have HomeLight Trade-in, HomeLight Cash Offer. For anybody that was at Inman in January, you probably saw us announce that new business and those products there. But we've really just been off to the races this year in getting those products and tools into agents' hands. HomeLight as a whole, I'll take a step back, was founded in 2012 with the impetus of how do you allow clients, buyers and sellers, to objectively find the best real estate agent for their needs. So our founder, Drew, he was looking for a real estate agent, kept on having bad interactions with different agents to help him find his first home to purchase with him and his wife, and was looking for data about the agents he was talking to, and realized he couldn't find any objective information anywhere. You get word of mouth referrals, see all the advertisements, but how do you actually know what an agent's transaction history is? And so HomeLight came about as a way for buyers and sellers to get an objective recommendation as the best agent for their needs based on data. So we aggregate about 200 different data sources, can recommend to anybody across the country, you're looking to buy or sell this home, this neighborhood, this agent's going to, statistically get you the best outcome for that transaction. Okay. That's the initial business, and we've really just grown from there. So that business, I would say, is our mature business. We're nationwide. We work with over 50,000 agents across the country. You probably see us on TV. We do a lot of TV advertisements as a way to bring in clients. And so from there, we've gone into, we now have Simple Sale. We have Title and Escrow. We have our home financing business, which includes CashClose. Simple Sale is our nationwide network of iBuyers. So if any client is looking for an investor offer, they can come to us. We aggregate different investors all throughout the country to give any client the best cash offer for their home.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I was also part of Inman. I contribute to the publication as well as go to the events, and the buzz about iBuying and what it means. A lot of times real estate agents get a little bit scared and are a little bit misunderstanding about the process, and as far as how it can be a strengthened tool in their toolkit. So let's talk a little bit from that perspective, as far as when a real estate agent is working with a client and they're considering using any of these tools that HomeLight has to offer, in what ways are they beneficial? Let's kind of come at it from that angle, because I think our audience would love to hear those benefits.
For sure. And I'll start with iBuying, because that's seemingly the most competitive one out there, right? It's a completely different way to actually sell a property versus everybody has to use title and escrow. Most buyers need a financing tool. Those are a little bit more friendly. So with Simple Sale, if an agent in your agent portal on HomeLight, you can type an address before you go to a listing appointment, see what investor offers would be for that property, and bring that to your listing appointment so you're equipped with that information. You should know that your clients are probably going to be doing that anyways. They're like, oh, well, I could go through a listing, pay agent commission. What would I get if I just sold it for cash? So rather than have them go search for that information after your listing appointment, bring that information to them when you are in that listing appointment with them, and us at HomeLight will empower you with that right away. And then if for whatever reason, your client does want to go with investor offer, you can actually facilitate that transaction through HomeLight. And still, there's a commission paid on that and an amount that you would still make by facilitating that transaction. So you're not out of the deal either way.
Right. And I was reading about the process, I believe it was with the CashClose, where if somebody has a contingency on their home and they're looking to get into another home, that there's a special program that would kind of free up that that concern of not getting the best options for your home. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Definitely, yeah. So that's the business that I run within HomeLight. And we have, so the genesis of it is HomeLight Home Loans, which is our core mortgage lending business, which powers everything we do within CashClose. Our HomeLight trade-in product is really for people who are looking to sell a home. With HomeLight trade-in, and this is available exclusively through our agent partners. So this is not a direct-to-consumer play. We're not trying to cut agents out of the equation. We want agents to be able to use this with their clients.
Yeah, I saw some great articles prior to you and I speaking about real estate agents that had very successful transactions as the listing agent, working on becoming becoming HomeLight certified? Is that what it is? Where you
get certified in this product because it's a different way to transact real estate. So we want to make sure agents are well equipped and confident in talking to their clients about the product. And so with HomeLight trade-in, what we do is you bring us your client and their property. We say, great, they're approved for HomeLight trade-in. We'll go ahead and purchase their home for 90% of its value right away. Whatever day they want to sell, when they're ready to close on their new house or they're ready to move to a new state, whatever it is they're doing, we'll buy the house at 90% of its value. We'll then turn around and go ahead and list it with you. Have an empty home that you can deep clean, stage, ideal home for showing. You go ahead and list it on the open market. When it sells on the open market, your client's going to get all of that upside above that 90% value that we gave them up front. You get paid your full listing commission, and then we take a small fee for facilitating the transaction.
Okay.
So it's really the convenience of an iBuyer, but your client's not going to be giving up a ton of equity in their home. They're still going to maximize the value that they receive for their property.
Which I think is key. I think that was the part that, interested me the most, was thinking about, especially in this market that we have now, with everything being a bit iffy, not always knowing, what's the best situation at hand. This gives you at least options to dig in and try to get the best value possible for your home. I believe I was looking at some different success stories where having that additional time to, like you said, do the repair stage and still, let's say you had to move quickly and make that happen, you still had the time to get above asking price and do a lot more. So those are a lot of wins. As far as when somebody comes to you and says, okay, I want to give this, this option a go, how do you come about making the decisions on the 90% value? Is it based on what?
Yeah, great question. So we work very closely with our agent partners during that valuation process. We have a questionnaire we send them and say, hey, what do you think this home's going to go for? Your expected listing price. Tell us a little bit more about the neighborhood. Tell us, what's special about this home, or what do we really need to do before we put it on market to maximize value? So we really get the agent's opinion. We then additionally have a full valuation team in-house. So again, we talked about HomeLight. We're pulling from 200 different data sources. We have access to all this data. We run our own valuation process and come out and say, okay, here's based on comps. This is what the valuation is. This is the agent's opinion, and we use both of those data points to help land on our final valuation. There's nothing better than having an in-market representative who knows what's going on with every transaction to help inform our opinion. But then the agent also has a data-driven team of a bunch of business analysts working on this too. So we really work back and forth with each other to land on that valuation.
And how, I don't like to compare platforms, but I am curious, especially with, the news that we heard out of, the Zillow camp this past week, how would you say that the home valuations, stand up as far as, are they similar to when you get as estimate? Is it different? Or what would you say? Where does that line up?
Yeah, I would say estimates sometimes can be really accurate and also can be really off. It depends on the market, depends on the property. I know I'm buying a house right now and this estimate is, probably about 20% or more off because they didn't know that there was a recent remodel to the home. So there's all these types of things that an AVM just based on data is never going to be completely accurate.
Right.
You really have to have boots on the ground, photographs of the home in its current condition. to be able to provide an accurate valuation. And so working with the agent, working with the client to get that information allows us to be very accurate.
That's good. And I do like that, it sounds like HomeLight understands the importance of, like you said, having the feet in the ground with that real estate agent to be able to bring that professionalism and, have a modernized transaction with that traditional element still fused together, which is quite nice, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I would say our philosophy, not all agents are created equal. There's some really good agents out there, and those really good agents are worth their weight in gold. And we want to empower those agents to have cutting edge technology and tools and products to be able to work with their clients.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense, right? And in any industry, we, let the cream rise to the top, right? So that being said, how does an agent get, if they're not already involved, if they haven't, gotten themselves on the traditional side of things, how do they get themselves involved in the process?
Yeah, so if you're an agent and you're interested in the CashClose business trade-in or cash offer, you can go to our website, homelight.com/trade-in, homelight.com/cash offer. And there is a little place to sign up if you're an agent who's interested in the product. We are rolling this out in new markets all the time. And we are, hand selecting really the agents that get access. We want agents who are really excited about using this, want to use it with their entire stable of clients. So, tell us why you should be the agent in your market that has access to these products. And we'd be, really excited to work with you.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of looking through the different functionality when you do the sign-up process, and I saw that it said, why do you think you would be a good fit? So I thought that was interesting, like from an interview standpoint, And so what kind of criteria are you looking for? So, is there, what's the ratio of accept versus pass on who gets to be a part of the program?
Yeah, it's really based on as we're rolling out in new markets and have the operational capability to support more agents and more clients. Okay. So that's the biggest constraint. I would say working in a market that this is pretty much all of California right now, but fast turn times in terms of days on market. So what's unique about us is our average hold time for a property has been around 40 days, which is really low when you think about taking it, getting it ready for the market, selling it, et cetera. So we don't want homes that we're going to own for half a year or a year. Right. And, just being a market leader in your market and knowing exactly what's going to be going on with any given property and really having a solid book of business. And just being excited to try a different way of transacting real estate. This is different. It's better, but it's going to be a bit of a learning curve to, once you do one transaction, you're hooked, but the first one's, it's new and it's different.
Yeah. So what would you say is, from the perspective of if I'm an agent and I'm getting myself, involved in the process, what is one of the most kind of both sides of the coin? What are some of the most common, struggles, the bumps that people have to get over? And then what are some of the things that they say, oh, this has been, really helpful in my business model? Mm-hmm. We can kind of talk to those points.
So I would say the bumps and the struggles are really just a slightly different process that you have to undertake. I was just talking with an agent earlier today about the tax implications. Okay, how should clients treat, their tax exempt status because there's two transactions? And no problem, we have this figured out, but let me tell you how it works so then you can talk to your clients about it. Right. The best agents are experts on everything to their clients. And so there's just a couple new things that, how disclosures work in the process. No worries, we'll teach you. It's super easy, but it's a little bit different. And so there's all those little speed bumps that you go over in your first transaction. And then you're like, I know how to do this. The biggest benefit that agents have seen is that they're able to bring to their clients the benefit of their full service of a traditional listing, but also just the ease and convenience of being able to move out on their own timeline and when they want. So whereas clients may have been going to iBuyers or going to investors or going, maybe not even selling because they just were too overwhelmed by the entire process, it's actually creating new opportunities for agents to expand their book of business, getting people to transact that may not have transacted because they couldn't figure out how to align the timing of two transactions, or the thought of having people come into their home while they're still living there right now is,
well, especially right now. I mean, we're seeing a ton of, how does the industry pivot in a contactless way and make sure things are,
So this creates it basically is new revenue and new opportunities for the agents that work with us, because they're creating transactions that may not have otherwise existed or have been really hard to get across the finish line.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. And then I was curious. So when you were saying that 90% of value is what is offered, and then you have the opportunity to list your home, and then if you sell it for above that, then you have that extra income that you get to earn, correct? What does it ever happen where the home sells less than what you bought it for?
Yeah, so luckily we have not had that instance happen. We started our business back in January, so rode through the waves of COVID, and there are some markets. I would say San Francisco, where I am, is actually probably the most affected market that I know of in terms of inventory and pricing right now. So San Francisco is an anomaly, but in general, we've never had that, which is fantastic, due to great agents, but also a great market currently. However, if that were to happen, the client would never owe us an extra dollar. We take up that risk. If the home sells below what we paid for it, no problem. You've got your money. You walk away. We are going to be the one to eat that additional.
Well, I think that's a big component, especially on the consumer side. Is risks are always challenging to navigate, right? So that's exciting. So I maybe sidestepped a little bit, but I'd love to know a little bit more about the inspiration behind HomeLight. As far as I know, that there was having that experience, as a home, looking for a home or selling a home, and wanting to find the right people. But what beyond that was the kind of the guiding light behind all of the different products that are being offered now?
Yeah, so really wanting to deliver a more simple and certain real estate transaction. It's such an important moment of people's lives, and they often, it's not a frequent thing for most people, and it's a lot of opaque information out there. And so the first piece was, how do you find the right agent to work with? As we firmly believe the right agent's a key part of the process. And then moving on, it's just creating more transparency and optionality for people to be able to have a simple, certain, and satisfying transaction. So with Simple Sale, the iBuyer network, it's know all of your options up front and log on and see what you should get for your house with a traditional listing versus an investor. And if you're willing to give up that extra money, maybe an investor is the right option for you. And then moving on into HomeLight Home Loans and CashClose. HomeLight Home Loans is our in-house mortgage lender. We're a full service lender, and we do a full underwrite of anybody that applies for a loan with us. So we have an underwriter review every document. And because we're so certain, if we give you a conditional approval that your loan's going to close, we back that with a $100,000 earnest money deposit guarantee, which means waive your financing contingency if you're approved by HomeLight Home Loans. And if anything happens where your loan doesn't close, we'll refund you your EMD. And so that's just providing more certainty to buyers that your lender is never going to step away at the last minute. For certain. And with CashClose, trade-in, and cash offer, it's, we identified what are the pain points for people in transacting real estate. Two major ones we found are people who need a loan to close on a home but are getting outbid by cash buyers. And that shouldn't be the case. Just because you need to get a loan to purchase a home doesn't mean it should be that much more expensive or competitive for you. So with cash offer, we turn people who are taking a loan out to purchase a home into an all-cash buyer with an 8-day close. With trade-in, people want the flexibility and certainty of moving when they want to, but they don't want to give up all the equity in their home. So with trade-in, it's how do we deliver that certainty and speed that iBuyers bring to the market, which is really valuable, but allow people to keep the hard-earned equity in their home and not have to sacrifice that just for the certainty and speed of an easy transaction.
And so you couldn't couple these. It's you pick one or the other, right?
So you can couple cash offer and trade-in. And the way that works is you come to us and say, hey, I want to buy that house. I'm going to complete my mortgage application with you. Great, you gave me approval. Okay, let's make an 8-day all cash offer on that property. Meanwhile, I know I have to sell my current house to be able to close on that home, but we're going to use trade-in to do that. So right before I'm ready to close on that house that you just bought for me in all cash, buy my current house at 90% of its value. So I can close my new house, then go ahead and sell it and just send me the second check when you're done.
That sounds like that's like the advanced version of the entire process.
There's a lot of people who do that, which is great. It's they just pick the house, they move when they want, and we take care of all the complicated pieces for them.
So how many people have, or as far as never are you talking about from if you were heading that direction, nobody's going to actually see anything except from a virtual standpoint? Would that be correct?
And for what piece of?
If you were combining everything together and just doing it all virtually?
Well, so people are touring the homes, looking at the homes in person. We're working with the agent and the client, virtually right now. Obviously, we can normally do things in person, but we're virtually right now.
We all have our hands ties, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will purchase the house without ever seeing it in person. So we get our information, we'll facilitate the transaction, buy out the homes for the client without ever being there physically.
So how does that work? Does the agent take pictures and then you take a look at it based on the photos that you're seeing, or how does that work?
Yeah, so with cash offer for buying your new property for you, we look at all the listing information, we look at the disclosure packet. I think you might have seen we recently brought disclosures.io on board, which is a company, really heavy adoption in the Bay Area that facilitates the entire disclosures process. So that's not part of the ecosystem too, but we review a property and say, great, it passes the guidelines. We'll go ahead and we can make a cash offer for you on that house. For trade-in, we ask the client to send us some photographs of the home. We pull a bunch of different data sources, and then we have the agent give us more information about the property after they've seen it in person.
Okay, so having that agent on, like you said, the feet on the ground, the eyes on deck help make sure that goes through more smoothly, right?
Completely, yeah. That's why our agent partners are such a crucial piece of the equation, because there are boots on the ground, and they tell us, our best agent partner says, hey, this property is great. And if they say, actually, I don't think this one fits your profile, like, thank you for being honest. Just, we trust your judgment on what are the right properties for us to take on. They treat it like it would be their own money, right? They want to build an ongoing relationship with us. And if they tell us that we should buy a house that isn't one we should buy,
that's not gonna fare well in the end, right?
Exactly.
So wonderful. Well, I'd love to actually hear some success stories, a little bit about, people who have used the system, from the consumer side as well as from the real estate side. I'd love to, kind of tackle a little bit of that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll talk about a client that we had that was a transaction right in the middle of March and April this year, which was clearly a pretty crazy time. And it was in San Jose, California, of all places, which was one of the first places to have the COVID outbreaks. But so our client, Nancy, she wanted to move up to Elk Grove, which is more inland, Northern California.
I'm a Northern California girl originally. I know exactly where that is. Yeah,
exactly. To be close to her daughter and grandchildren. And she had found a house that was right next door, but lost because she had a home sale contingency in her offer. And so by the time she found the next house, she's like, I'm not going to lose this house. I have to win it. And so used trade-in as a way to make an offer on that new house without a home sale contingency. So with HomeLight trade-in, she won that house, was able to close on it with HomeLight Home Loans. We stepped in and purchased her current property. And when we purchased her current property, I think it was probably mid to end of March. So kind of right when everything was starting to unravel, and she was, extremely nervous, what's going to happen with the market, how is this going to pan out? We ended up doing a bit of extra work to actually get the home ready for the market. Given that we thought things might be slowing down a bit, we really needed to have it show well to get interest. So we put kind of a little bit of extra elbow grease and talked to her about agreeing to invest a little bit more money to get it fixed up. The day that we were done, went on the market the next day, and we had an offer $50,000 over asking within 2 days of being on the market in the middle of a pandemic when nobody can see the house in person.
Wow. And how much extra did she end up putting into it to do all those repairs?
Yeah. So we ended up putting about $10,000, $15,000 extra into it. HomeLight wants the money, we pay for it, and then we just get reimbursed when the home sells on the open market.
At closing, right?
Yeah. So we're, owning the property, fronting the money. And so that's what we do with all of our properties is we say, what does it need to be done to get ready for market? And we take ownership, we help coordinate the repairs, we front that cash to be able to do so. And then we just get reimbursed for anything that's put into the home when it sells.
Yeah, very interesting. And so at the end, even after, making that decision to put a little extra in to upgrade a bit and spruce it up, still ended up earning a lot more. So that's...
Yeah, completely. I think her second check on that one was like $350,000.
Wow,
she was going into this being like, am I going to get any upside because of the market? And just had a fantastic outcome.
Wow, that's a great success story.
Yeah.
And what about from like the real estate side? I'd love to hear about a success story from a real estate agent who you've partnered with, who's added this to their tool belt.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple I'll talk on there. So one, his name is Jordan Clark. He was one of the first agents we ever worked with down in San Diego in the Carlsbad area. And he had some friends that had always been like, we're looking, we're not sure, we want to move, but never would really pull the trigger. And finally, he found them the perfect house. Like it had everything that they were looking for. But they have a few young kids at home. And they're like, how are, we can't make this happen. And he's like, no worries. We have the house. We'll go ahead and make an offer. I'll take care of selling your house with trade-in. You're not going to have to move twice. You're not going to have to worry about a thing. And so these were clients he had been working with for, I don't know, years probably, and trying to find them the right house to get them to move into. And because of trade-in, he was able to remove all the uncertainty and pain of having to move twice, get them to win that new house, move in, get his buy-side commission, and then turn around and list it with us.
So he ended up with a double commission on that, buy-side and listing.
Yeah,
nice.
It was the clients, were never really willing to pull the trigger until they had a product like this that was really just going to make it turnkey for them.
Oh, wonderful.
And with our cash offer product, in the Bay Area, highly competitive, a lot of offers being put in. One of our agents, Kelly Baldwin, she had clients, so I think they had made 12 offers on homes and gotten beaten out every single time. And as a buyer's agent, you just think
competitive
work that is, right?
Yeah.
12 offers, touring every weekend. And finally, she's like, heard about cash offer. They used it. They won a house. They were in right away. So really took what was a long slog for her as a buyer's agent with them to just being able to have the silver bullet to win the next house that they wanted to get into.
So it really does kind of create that level playing field between the cash buyer and somebody who's not technically a cash buyer. So you're kind of coming in at that level playing field.
Yeah, and that's what we want to turn everybody into, a cash buyer. If you're just buying a house but you're a credit-worthy underwritten buyer, you can act like a cash buyer. Even if you have a house to sell, you can act like a cash buyer. And not have to worry about the timing of the transactions or making sure everything's going to close or having all the contingencies in an offer.
And you were saying about as far as like qualifying. So what kind of credit rating does one need to qualify for something like that?
Yeah, so we 620 and above is the credit score that we'll work with. We go down to 5% down payment for any of our products. We work across California. We're in about 8 states. All throughout California, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, Washington, Oregon. I know those are a lot of the ones where people are moving to right now.
Right.
Yeah, we have a pretty large swath of types of clients that we can work with on the lending side. And if you're approved with HomeLight Home Loans, your clients will have access to cash offer trade-in.
Interesting. Very, very cool. Well, I really appreciate that you took the time to kind of map those out. Now, is there any of the products that we haven't talked about yet, or did we cover most of the ones that are?
Yeah, I think we covered most, so these are our products currently, right? This is what we've gone to market with.
Is there anything that's in the works that's
there's a lot in the works. So, what we have this, what I call the Cadillac cash offer. Nothing can beat it. 8-day all cash close. And then our general HomeLight home loan is pretty good, like EMD guarantee, no financing contingency ever. But there's a lot of playing field in the middle where people need, something that's more competitive than just the standard, no financing contingency, but they don't necessarily, need the full 8-day all cash offer. So we're rolling out a new product right now that's called Protected Offer. This is basically a 30-day close, but it's backed by cash. So if for any reason your client's loan isn't ready to close on day 30, we'll step in and purchase the home in cash. So it provides that certainty to the seller of an offer that's backed by cash at no additional fee to your client. So this is just kind of an upgrade of, you want to boost up your offer and make it a little bit more competitive. Here's a free way to do it. And then
when is that rolling out?
Yeah, so we just started to roll it out in California and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably start to hear talk of it with a few different agents, but we're going to be rolling it out fully in this next coming quarter at the end of this year.
I love when I accidentally can steal some little sneak peeks. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that Protected Offer is the name of that product. And it's really a solution. So we just have a full buyer suite worth of products. And we're just testing that and giving it to a handful of agents right now. So you can find it on our website, but if you know who to ask, you might be able to get
if you know the right people. Yeah, exactly. So wonderful. Well, and you said that you've been with HomeLight now for the past 3 years, and you were with a few other successful. I was reading about your background, and you've had some mighty success in the acquisition space. So I'd love to talk a little bit about your background as far as how you came into this this wheelhouse. I know you gave me a tiny bit, but I was really impressed with the girl power you have it. I want to share with everyone we have a lot of female entrepreneurs.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I'm a sucker for punishment. I love early stage startups where you just got to grind it out and improve yourself. So I'm actually new to the real estate industry. HomeLight's the first time I've worked in real estate. Learned a ton. It's so exciting and love it. But prior to HomeLight, I was at Houzz, Houzz, which some of you might be familiar with as a home design site. And so I joined there when it was still a pretty small company. I love interior design. That's kind of what got me into the real estate space, and was there when we were growing the business from about 200 people to 1,200 people, went from just the US to 14 countries. So really scaled a big business across the world there. Prior to that, I was with Shutterfly for a bit. So Tiny Prints, whatever it was, you guys might be familiar with those products.
Totally.
Yeah. And prior to Shutterfly, I was at Stitch Fix. When I joined
Stitch Fix, that's the outfits, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the boxes that come with 5 different items handpicked for you. Stitch Fix was awesome. I was there when there was about 10 people. We'd all pack boxes together on Friday afternoons.
Wow, you were early stage.
Yeah,
wow,
early, but it was so much fun to just be able to be involved in all parts of the business and to see something grow from just really a concept to now it's a publicly traded billion-dollar business. So,
and you were at the beginning stages of all that. That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
Yeah, so now I really joined HomeLight because I saw it at that point of there's so much opportunity. It was still very early, really smart group of people wanting to tackle problems in the right way. And so we've grown a ton since I've joined, and I know we still have a lot of growth ahead of us.
Absolutely. I was seeing that. I was seeing since you jumped on board that they've had a lot of initiatives move forward in a really positive manner. So well done for being a strong piece of the puzzle over there on Team HomeLight, and appreciate that you came to share with the audience. And I'm just going to put up really quick on the ticker here just to show everybody the website again, if you want to learn some more about the different suite of services. And if you do have any additional questions that you think of after the broadcast, feel free to leave a comment on this thread, and I'll make sure that, I get those answers for you from Vanessa and her team. Yeah. And we really appreciate that you took the time to come out and, come out to your camera, but, share with all of us.
Yeah. Anybody out there who's interested or wants to know more, feel free to reach out directly. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but Vanessa at HomeLight, that's my email. So feel free. We are, really excited to be working with more and more of the best agents out there and continuing to empower you all with the right products to be able to grow your business.
I love it. Well, we always have to have a lot of tools in our belts because to be the best, you have to be aware, educated, and refined. So thank you for sharing with us. Really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I'll see you next week for Ready, Set, Thrive. Bye, everybody.